the first question is, Wasilla, Alaska has been placed on the map and into the eyes of audiences around the world due to a certain former governor and her family. I really want to get the actual picture of what Wasilla is really like.
You know, I think so many people have seen that Daily Show. I don't know if you saw the Daily Show.
Yeah, of course.
It was the absolute worst of Wasilla. It was such a bummer. You know, Alaska is so much about work and about community and family and just working together.
Uh-huh.
I guess, and that wasn't really shown. That was kind of the Palin side. Is you know, they live off of that,
right?
But they don't represent it and they don't live it. You know.
Yeah.
It's the strangest thing to me. I've never really met on that side. I think it's a lot like I was actually talking about this. It's nothing like Boston city-wise.
Okay.
It's one of those places where you can easily run into the wrong person. You know, it's a very liberal place, but at the same time,
really
very conservative edge.
Okay, all right.
I think the majority is probably pretty conservative, actually, to be fair. But all right. The real Alaskans, to me, are very liberal and very open, and you know, they're about working together.
Very awesome. So, yeah, because I had like this sense that it wasn't painted correctly. You know, I wanted to get to the bottom of it, and I think like what's really intriguing about you guys coming from there is that, you know, we can finally get honest answers about it. You know, which is because for the past year, I mean, you know, I've never heard of Wasilla before last year. You know.
Yeah. Wasilla specifically is very conservative. I think that's one of the most conservative places I've been in Alaska, and we've lived in quite a few different places.
Alrighty.
But yeah, for the most part, the people that I grew up around were, you know, open and they just did what they did.
Right.
I don't think they really meddled with anybody else too much and minded their own business. And who knows? But
I got you.
I feel like the majority may have run in the wrong direction.
I got you.
That's just my opinion.
Well, I think it's a very good one of that. Now, speaking of Alaska, was it ever really frustrating being away from any scene, being in a band?
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, that's the reason we left the state. We left the state to tour, and it was just because we loved playing music.
Right.
I left around 2003.
Oh, wow.
And, I mean, I'd pretty much been on tour since then. I left because this band, a bunch of friends of mine had a band called Anatomy of a Ghost.
Okay.
And they asked me to come down and sing for them. And I have no idea why they asked me. I was terribly shy. Didn't want to do anything like that. You know, didn't want to sing for a band. I liked writing songs.
Okay.
I didn't want to sing. You know, I had a high voice, and I always got grief for that.
All right. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, they asked me to come down and sing, and I did that. And that band broke up after a year, and we came back to Alaska and started Portugal the Man and realized that there was nowhere to play. so
that'll do it. Yeah, I mean, forced to relocate.
Yeah, all we knew was touring. All we knew how to do was tour. We had a booking agent. We knew how to do that. So we said, you know what, we can't do it from here right now. So we need to just get out on tour.
So you guys now then ended up in Portland right after Alaska, or was there any place in between?
Oh no, it was always Portland. To be honest, I'm so happy I ended up in Portland. Such an amazing city, amazing food, amazing people. It's such an easy transition to city life from Alaska. It's so small, and it is a community, and it is, you know, it's people working together to a city extent as much as you can in a city. But yeah, I'm really glad I ended up there. I think my first choice probably would have been California or Florida, like a place with beaches, you know, things that we didn't have.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I'm really glad we ended up there.
Now, speaking of Portland, you know, you have bands like yourself, Hockey, the Shins, Decemberists, all kind of basing themselves out of that city. Has talent always really exploded out of Portland that you've noticed since you've been there? And You know, because it's kind of, now that you kept mentioning community and that sense of community, and all you guys have really been helping each other out, building up the Portland scene. Like, what's going on over there now musically that's really been putting Portland on the map with these 4 big bands coming out, just to name a few?
Oh man, yeah, I think there have always been really great bands in Portland. A lot of these bands like Blitz and Trapper have been around for so long, just playing in Portland every now and then. I remember we just had the same group of friends. I was friends with one of the guys' girlfriends, so we would hang out every now and then. And I remember they were just playing around Portland, and out of nowhere, they just like blew up. And I think it was like the South by Southwest show.
Right.
For the most part, what I noticed for the longest time, for a few years, it was just Portland bands playing in Portland specifically, not really touring, and just living and just doing what they wanted. And I think that's what made it such a good scene.
Right.
That's what made it a really great scene, because everybody was really cultivating their sound.
Right.
You know, all the while we're just on tour the whole time, just, fucking off. We're just hanging out, just jamming. But, yeah, they all just hung out for so long. I feel like it couldn't help but happen. There was really no stopping it. There was just constant practice and constant growth. And then a lot of those bands moved in. I'm pretty sure a lot of those bands moved to Portland afterwards. So.
Yeah, because it seems like that. It's almost like reminiscent of Seattle in the early '90s.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great comparison, actually. I mean, even Seattle when I came down was still, I guess, at the tail end of that, or it was during like the Blood Brothers and the Snakes and Foch and all that stuff. And all that stuff was pretty massive. There was a really great scene in Seattle. It just kind of moved over to Portland.
Right.
It always moved to a different spot. It was
That's
Brooklyn
true.
For like 4 years.
Yeah, because the thing is,
I guess it's been Brooklyn forever.
Yeah, I was just about to mention. Like, I'm spoiled being in New York City. I got Brooklyn, where it's every band's coming out of there, so it's always very cool and unique to hear like this explosion of good stuff coming out of other cities.
Yeah, definitely. One thing very cool about New York is there's always a sound, and it crosses those lines. Like you can always find that influence in almost all the bands you find from New York. At least all the bands doing something new and different.
Right.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that they cross genres so easily. I'm sure just being in that city and being able to see, 1 million people every day.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it gets you moving, gets you thinking.
Well,
Menomina, really fucking good band. I think Menomina is one of the best bands.
Really?
Out of Portland right now. You know Menomina, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Menomina. That's just a cool band.
Awesome.